Here's your latest African news. Africa-wide, what does the United Nations Climate Report mean for Africa? A report by the United Nations Scientific Panel released on Monday said the world's climate was changing at unprecedented levels, adding that humans are to blame. The report warned of more extreme weather in the coming years. It said humanity will suffer the consequences of rising sea levels and melting Arctic ice before urging drastic cuts to emissions in order to hold the global temperature to under the limits set by the 2015 Paris Agreement. Africa, in general, is vulnerable given the level of development. The entire continent is highly exposed to climate extremes at a relatively high level of vulnerability, which amplifies the problems that the continent is experiencing, including limited infrastructure, conflicts, and urbanization in development. But despite all this, Africa is most affected and yet least responsible for climate change. The report has recommended more research and education on the topic of climate change in order to reduce further devastation to our continent. West Africa. Ivory Coast, Ghana agreed to cooperate on cocoa pricing. Ivory Coast and Ghana, the world's two largest cocoa suppliers, have recently agreed to better cooperate on pricing and combating child labor in the industry. Ivory Coast accounts for more than 40% of world output and Ghana at least 20%. The two West Africa producers joined forces in 2019 to try to get more from the chocolate industry, obtaining a premium per ton of cocoa. But the coronavirus pandemic has hit global demand and buyers are reluctant to see prices rise with the surplus in supplies. Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister said they had agreed to form a joint body to cooperate over research, price setting, and child labor alike. She added that the two countries, which produce about 60% of the world's cocoa, have coordinated on some of those issues before, but this new organization marks a formal step towards even more effective cooperation. Cameroon. Cameroonians rally to demand EU to stop deforestation for rubber. A group of young Cameroonian activists crowded in front of the headquarters of the European Union delegation in Cameroon's capital, Yaoundé, yesterday morning to demand the end of the EU's support for rubber originating from the rainforest destruction. The mobilization took place while the European Commission in Brussels is drawing up the articles of a new law on commodities that are linked to deforestation and forest degradation. Ngolo Tade, a Baka indigenous leader who spoke at a rally, said that Europeans cannot vote with one hand for a Green New Deal and use the other hand to buy commodities or finance plantations that erase forests and displace human beings. The rally marks the International Day of the World's Indigenous Peoples after 10,000 hectares of rainforest in the south of Cameroon were trashed by the multinational rubber company Harassed Agri and the previous owner of its local subsidiary SADC. Southern Africa. SADC to hold 41st SADC Summit in Malawi. The Southern African Development Community, or SADC, will hold the 41st Ordinary Summit of Heads of States and Governments in Lilongwe, Malawi on 17 to 18 August, with a limited number so as to observe COVID-19 protocols. The theme seeks to accelerate the implementation of the SADC Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan. Kenya. Foreign vessels a headache for Kenya's artisanal fishers. Lamu fishers, especially on the northern shores of the Indian Ocean from Kiwayu and Kipungani and Mpetekoni on the Tana River, are complaining that trawlers believed to be from China, Spain, and South Korea have been spotted operating illegally in shallow waters at night. The fishermen have said that the ships are destroying their fishing gear and damaging the sea floor and coral reefs alike. They added that trawlers are not sticking to designated areas, Areas such as Pezali, Pate, Ziwayu, and Kipungani were the most affected by destructive trawler activities, they said. Lamu Deputy Governor Abdulakim Aboud has urged the national government to work closely with county governments to curb illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing in Kenyan territorial waters. South Africa, indigenous land dispute dog Amazon's Africa expansion. The near $300 million development housing Amazon's new African headquarters is set to build on the historical South African indigenous land. Over 500 years ago, South Africa's indigenous Khoi and San population fought off a Portuguese attack in one of the first and most successful anti-colonial battles in Africa. Today, some descendants of the Khoi and San view the United States retail giant Amazon's attempt to build an Africa headquarters on the same land in Cape Town in similar terms. Rights groups this week filed an interdict at the Western Cape High Court to halt the $284 million development, which would include a hotel, residential units, and retail offices, including Amazon's. 56,000 people have signed a petition opposing the building plans on land previously home to a golf course and bar, which community leaders say has archaeological value and should be made a heritage site. Angola announces plans to start more oil rigs. Angola foresees putting into operation another 6 oil rigs by the end of the first quarter of 2022, said the Minister of Mineral Resources, Oil and Gas, Diamantino Azevedo. The minister announced this at the opening ceremony of the 6th Consultative Council of the sector on Friday, held in northern Kwanza Norte province, stating that the start of the new rigs will bring a total number to 10. According to him, the move is part of strategy to reverse the current sharp decline in oil production. The strategy includes the plan to reduce unplanned stops by improving the preventive maintenance of equipment and the production of additional resources in mature fields using the 3D seismic for detention of non-produced zones. Thank you for watching. Visit our YouTube channel, Tuna Cheki, to watch our daily news reports and our website at tunacheki.tv for all the latest news updates. You can directly support this new series by becoming our YouTube member or becoming a patron. And remember, Africa is watching. And please feel free to leave your suggestions, news tips, or topics about Africa that you'd like us to explore.